Hello and welcome, my name is Sarah and today I'm going to be showing you some unusual cuts. There are so many different ways that you can peel something, and for apples I like to do it in a continuous spiral. So you take your peeler and you just turn the apple more than you move the peeler, as you can see how I'm doing that now, and you should end up with a continuous strand of apple peel. Moving the vegetable or fruit rather than the peeler is something you want to do with anything you peel. It just makes it a lot safer and just easier to do. And now that the apple is peeled, I'm going to show you how to make a delicious apple crisp. So start off by cutting up your apples into tiny little squares. It doesn't have to be precise, as this is just going to end up baked together. Just try to aim for similar sizes. Once you're done cutting it all up, you can put it in a bowl and add your seasonings, which are cloves, cinnamon, ginger, and nutmeg. And then you can sprinkle on some brown sugar, maple syrup, and then just mix that all together. Then you can transfer it into a greased baking sheet. I use something similar to a casserole dish just because that's what I have, but any sort of deep dish will work. And now we can make the topping, which is a bunch of oats, and then the seasonings are cinnamon, ginger, and cloves. Add a little bit of salt and some brown sugar, and then mix that all up and add some butter. And then you can use your hands to just kind of make that into a crumbly texture, and then you can put that on top of your apple slices. Make sure everything is spread out evenly, and then it's good to go and bake. This apple crisp is sweet and warm from the spices. It is absolutely delicious, and it is definitely a people pleaser. Shredding is done when you need a vegetable or fruit or anything really turned into a bunch of tiny little pieces. So a cheese grater is something that is really good to use for this. I'm using a mandolin with a shredder attachment. Using a shredder is pretty simple. You just move your vegetable or fruit or cheese up and down the grater until you have as much as you want. Now, the way I like to use a shredder, other than grating cheese obviously, is to make some delicious fritters. So to make it, you need to grate 2 carrots and then 2 zucchinis. And then just add them both to a bowl. And then you're going to add about half a cup of flour, some salt, your seasonings, which for me is garlic powder and pepper and parsley. Then you mix that all up until it kind of comes together, and then you can add 2 eggs. Once the eggs are added, you can mix them up and mix everything together. Make sure everything is combined evenly, and it should kind of resemble a little bit of a thick batter. Once that's all done, you can heat up some oil in a pan, and then you can spoon on your fritter batter. And you're just going to let that cook on one side for about 4 to 5 minutes. And then you can flip them and let that side get golden brown as well. So you want everything to cook through, especially that egg and flour, and you should get these really nice and golden patties. These fritters are absolutely delicious on their own or as a side. I like to eat mine with some sour cream and sriracha. The flavors are balanced really well with the sweetness from the carrots and zucchini, and the texture is nice and crisp on the outside and chewy on the inside. Chopping is pretty much just making a vegetable or fruit or any food into similar sizes. It doesn't have to be precise, but it has to be close enough. So for this carrot, I'm cutting it into little pieces and then cutting those pieces in half just to make it a little more even across the board. Again, chopping is about similarity, not perfection. Now for this pepper, you're going to cut around the seeds just so the cutting process is a little cleaner because those seeds can get everywhere. And then you're going to cut those pieces a little smaller. I try to make them close to the same size as the carrots just so they all cook at similar times and nothing is over or undercooked. Chopping can pretty much be summed up by making sisters, not twins. You don't need everything to be exactly the same, you just need it to be similar. Now for this Roma tomato, I cut off the hard end and then I quartered it. And then from that quarter, I roughly chopped it into similar sizes to the carrots and peppers. Again, you want everything to be similar sizes, but more watery things like tomatoes can be cut a little bigger because they will shrink when you cook them. And to finish off with this onion, I just cut a bunch of slices along the length. I tried to make it, again, similar to the size of the previous vegetables that I've cut, and then I cut it along the width. Now that the vegetables are all cut, you can put it on a baking sheet, drizzle on some olive oil, sprinkle some salt, some garlic powder, and some pepper. Make sure everything is spread evenly, and then you can bake it in the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes. While that is baking, we're going to boil some salted water and then add some pasta of choice. I decided to use rotini simply because it captures the sauce really well. And then once the veggies are baked, you're going to add all of them to a blender. You're going to add some water from the pasta, and then you're going to just blend that right up. And then you have a beautiful veggie sauce. So this sauce is absolutely delicious. It is packed full of veggies if you want to hide some veggies from your kids or from yourself. It's really filling, and I really recommend making this if you want to bulk up your pasta dish. In a previous video, I showed you how to brunoise, and mincing is basically the imprecise sister of the brunoise. It's most commonly used with garlic, so that's what I'm going to show you how to do it on. So to start, you're going to take all your cloves and separate them. Then you're going to crush them so that you can take off the skins later. Now that everything is crushed, you can pinch the top of the clove and the skin should just pull right off. It might leave some pieces behind, but that should be easy to take off. Next, you're going to cut off the hard woody piece of the garlic. It should be on the bottom where the garlic bulb was holding everything together. And you want to cut that off just so it doesn't affect the texture of anything later. And then you can take all your pieces and slice them. Doesn't really matter how thin or thick you make these slices, because now, once everything is sliced, we're going to actually start the mincing. So now that your garlic is all cut up, you're going to put it into a pile and you're just going to rock your knife back and forth across that pile. And you're going to keep doing that until you get a really fine texture, a really fine mince. So you're just going to keep moving your knife through the pile, regather everything as you need, try and go through different directions so that everything gets cut up evenly. You don't need everything to be precise. Once again, this isn't a brunoise, it's a mince. So you just want to get everything as tiny as possible and as close a size as you can. Now with this garlic, we're going to make a delicious garlic soup. So you're going to saute your minced garlic with a little bit of salt, and then once that's nice and soft, you're going to add some beef broth. Let that simmer a little bit, and then you can add your seasonings, which is parsley, salt, and black pepper. And then you're going to mix it up, let it boil, let it simmer, and then you're going to add bread. I added 5 slices of bread, and this is just so it thickens up. You could do a roux if you wanted to, but bread is just like a quick and easy way to thicken up a soup. Then you're going to add your soup to a blender and just blend that all up until it's nice and smooth. This soup is absolutely delicious. If you love garlic, this is definitely for you. I like adding a little bit of sour cream, just to add a little tang, and some green onions to add some freshness. This soup is honestly one of my new favorites. And that brings an end to this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw and you want to see more, you can hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit a like, and if you want to, you can leave a comment. And I will see you next week.